the interpretation of verse 2, 106 of the Quran. Translating it from Arabic, the verse says, "Whatever verse we may abrogate or cause to be forgotten, we bring better than it or similar to it. Did you not know that God is quite capable of everything?" The interpretation given by Al-Tabari centers on a fascinating theological puzzle. How can one word of God be better than another? In the narrative of Quranic scholarship, Al-Tabari approaches this by looking at the word ayah, which is commonly translated as verse, in the context of God's promise to bring something better than what was replaced. Al-Tabari finds it difficult to accept that one literal verse could be superior to another, as they all share the same divine origin. To solve this, he turns to metaphor. He argued that when the Quran speaks of bringing something better, it isn't talking about the words themselves, but rather the ruling or the legal application contained within the verse. In his view, a newer law might be better for the community's welfare than an old one, even if the linguistic status of the verses remains equal. The metaphorical leap is precisely what Al-Ghazali and Ibn-Taymiya challenged. They don't see a need for a metaphor because they don't accept Al-Tabari's premise that all verses must be equal in status. Al-Ghazali explicitly addressed those who struggle with this idea, arguing that it is entirely possible for some parts of the Quran to be better than others, even though it is all God's speech. He pointed to the Prophet's own words as the ultimate proof. For instance, the Prophet identified the verse of the throne, verse 2, 255, as the greatest verse and called chapter 1 the greatest chapter. Ibn Taymiyyah took this a step further, asserting that the idea of some parts of Revelation being superior to others is not just an opinion, but the established consensus of the early predecessors and the great jurists. In a clever turning of the tables, Ibn Taymiyyah actually used verse 2, 106, the very verse Al-Tabari was trying to explain away, as primary evidence that verses can in fact differ in rank. The book quotes what he wrote. It's available for free on aabadan.org, or you can scan the QR code at the top.